Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile.
Every tick matters, but without a plan, you will be left behind. Start each day with our NQ and S&P 500 Futures Daily Plan. Key levels, setups, and scenarios mapped out before the bell. Backed by weekly insights across crypto, gold, and more. Join us on Substack today. Conquer the markets.
Oh, and we are back. Welcome back, everybody. It is good to see you. What an incredible day. Uh-oh. We did it again. We did it again. So much winning. You kidding me? We called the top today, not only in the from Sunday in the weekend trade review, but we talked about it Monday. We talked about it yesterday in the post-market breakdown, and I laid it out perfectly today in the trade plan, and we talked our way through it in the Substack room, giving guys targets all the way through, and we ended up catching 40 points towards the end of the day, all the way down to our target. Yes, it took 7 hours worth of hold, but if you're just chilling, playing the high time frame, then what else can you ask for? So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the day, and I am so excited doing the little Trump dance. It's all about winning, baby, and that is what we're doing here. These trade plans are on fire. And again, I just want to point this out. I came into the day yesterday slightly bearish, right? We had to shift our bias because, we got new information. We got above the certain pivot. Well, guess what? I was still like, hey, this morning, I'm not really thinking that this is, I'm not super bullish. Here's the level that matters. And it played perfectly. And so we're going to get into it right now. First and foremost, as usual, let's just go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and pop this up here. You guys know what to do. These are my socials here. Ryan Bailey Edge across YouTube, Substack, X, and TradingView. Make sure that you follow me on TradingView. I'm getting ready to put some new indicators up this week. And if you are currently a subscriber, you have to hit me up on DM. I will give you the 80% edge rule. And also the, I think it's, what did I call it? The Edge Cloud. Basically, it is a fantastic ATR cloud that Rob has made with proprietary calculations that we actually use in our studies to help give us confluence for support and resistance. It is an absolute must-have. I think you'll really enjoy that. So make sure you hit me up on the DM for that and check out the indicators I have on there as well. But as you guys, I am posting all the time on X, and obviously I'm very busy on Substack. There's some good material on there. Make sure you check that out. So first, let's just kick it off right from the beginning, guys. Let's just go ahead and figure out where am I at here? Where are we at? So let's see. Let's get into, I got a couple things here. Okay, let's do this. Hang on, give me 1 second here. We had at the beginning of the day, hang on. And that came off of our significant weekly and 4-hour level that we have talked about for some time. And I could have swore, here we go. All right, here we go. So check this out. So this was our first major key support zone. It was right off the trade plan, as you can tell from the bullet point. This is the very first one. This is what the immediate pivot was, the 69.77 through 69.75 or 77.75. This is our weekly 4-hour pivot that held all day yesterday. Actually, what happened was we actually hit that at the highs, and then they pushed above it. And then we held it all day yesterday, and we kind of floated above it all evening, and they used it as support. One of the best things about this was, and it sees right here, yesterday, important for context support. This is an RTH chart. This was the low from yesterday. You could see on the cash session, they actually sweeped this low and popped up. And so I wanted to show you how important this level was. We knew it was going to be a banger because it has been so important back and forth, and was also very important today for our current above below context, which we'll get in very soon. But you can see I actually took this long. I didn't catch it from the lows because I was a little late getting to the trading day today, but you can see I was long from 69.90, took it up to 7,000. But you're probably thinking, Ryan, why would you do that, right? Well, one, I knew that was a very important level. Two, we swept the lows. And so, we had what I would call like a liquidity sweep or a failed breakdown. And so I was shooting for the previous high of the day. But why? Well, let me show you this. Here's where it comes from. When I saw this happening, I jumped in above the open right here at 69.90 because Edgeful gave me the statistics I needed to feel confident about this happening. There was an 84% chance of us breaking the prior day's high at 7,050. And you can see right here that I was at 7,000 even, right? So I'm like, okay, 85% chance. I know we swept the lows. I think we're going to go hit this high, and I think we're going to go hit 7,004. And we did all those things. So basically got 10 points off the rip on our way up there. And then, of course, we came into our major pivot, which was awesome. So let's get into that now. So that is really where this whole kind of day takes place. And I'll just shoot you guys straight. We're going to talk about this level. We're going to talk about why it was important. We're also going to talk about what I think is going to happen. But just let it be known that other than my very first target, this trade took 7 hours to play out. It paid 40 points, but it took 7 hours to play out. And there was a reason why I hung in there, and I'll get to that soon when we talk about why this level was so important. For those of you guys who are trade plan subscribers already, and if you're not, you should certainly pay attention. You're going to learn something today. And so let's go ahead and find this. And give me 1 second here. Here it is. All right. So as you guys know, I talked about this level yesterday in the post-market breakdown. This was really the make it or break it level. It was the same make it or break it level yesterday from the upside, and we had the 64 pivot on the downside, right? So as you can see, before we even got there, I'm telling guys, listen, this is it. This is the 7,004 untested daily, weekly options pivot. If you guys got the trade plans, you saw there was a massive options pivot up here. I mean, it was the biggest options level on the map, and it was the highest untested daily leg from the lows that was made from February 2nd. It was a massive area resistance. This is a textbook play from the way I trade my process. It was absolutely incredible. And I said right here in the actionable setup, I expect a reaction here. If it says we either break above this and go to all-time highs, or we come down significantly hard. Now, here's the best part about it. This trade took 2 points of heat. You could have easily stayed in this with a 5-point stop. Even a 2.5 point stop would have been all right. But let's just call it a 5-point stop, and you would have gotten paid 40 points. This was an absolute banger. And, guys in the room, again, it took some time to play out. We were a little like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, you have to stick to the process. We have a strategic and well-tested strategy. We know the numbers, and we use that math to our favor. This whole game is about statistics and probabilities, which is, again, why I love Edgeful, because they are constantly reinforcing your trades with data, which is exactly what every one of you guys should be doing with your trading process. Now, for those of you who are following me in the trade plans and those of you who are in the Discord room, congratulations. I know you killed it today. And more importantly, the reason we took this trade was because we knew statistically this was an A+ setup, and we leaned into it. And I even talk about this in one of these clips that we're going to talk about right now. So check this out. Let's go ahead and get into this. Hang on. Let me find the next area here. Excuse me. So I got so many pictures here. Let me find out where the next one is. All right, hang on. So that was, give me 2 seconds. So let's see. Oh, that's good. Those are good. Those are good. You guys are going to like these. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up for you guys. I'm going to go show you. I think this is a good spot right here. Right. So here you go. This is a good one. All right. So this is kind of me like talking to the room. Right. So I just took some pictures here to show you guys. We had the big smack from this. And I'm telling everybody, right, this dumps here or we make new all-time highs. Right. SPX is actually showing its flip as well. And SPX, as you can see, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more, we played the highest untested daily in this leg down, which again told me like I have no choice but to hold this. This is either going to get raped or we're going to get stopped out for 5 points. And that is exactly how much my stop was at the highest today, which was 5 points. And then I just told everybody, listen, I don't know if this is going to go, but I'm sticking to the process, good or bad. You can see right here, my stop was actually, 7 points, and I could have moved it down. I probably did later. It was a 7,007. Clearly had a little room right there. My entry on this was 7,000, and I had targets at 69. 69, I think 85, and then all the way down to 69, 67. So I was prepared to hold on to this. This was a massive spot, and I just couldn't let this trade go by. I would have been absolutely devastated if I didn't hold this because I knew the possibility of this potentially working out. So let's go ahead and fall back into SPX so I can give you guys a much clearer picture. This is for all my SPX peeps who trade this. I hope you're watching this doc and everybody else who's into this. This right here is our highest untested daily on SPX. It's super clear. And this was laid out pre-market in the trade plan. We obviously had the pictures, as you guys know. Let me just pull it over so you can see so there's no fluff going on here. Check this out. Let's just show you what the deal is. Whoop, there you go. Right here. So this was the daily that played yesterday. I talked about it in the trade plan. I said, this is the massive leg down. This either gets super smacked or we make new all-time highs. Well, guess what? We played the 77. We popped up to 85. And now we got our reaction. We actually came down to the daily and a little bit lower today on SPX. And I just talked about this right here. So as we were sitting up here, we were just kind of percolating sideways. I'm like, man, what is going to happen, right? And I told everybody, look at all this buying, right? They are trying. If they don't push up, we got ourselves some serious trapped. And what I mean by trapped is a lot of trap buyers. That is guys trying to push, and then they just get caught on the other side of the trade, which ultimately leads to a push down because they have to get out. And so it was the perfect touch of 7,004 at that time. So then I followed up with, look at SPX. It's walking higher, but VIX is not scared. I honestly don't know what to think here, but my brain, that thing in between my ears here, this thing says that we smack hard. But she's not done it yet, but this is the highest untested on SPX. Now, I kind of had this a little bit out of order, as you know, as I said before, like when I pulled up the other SPX, we showed that it was actually starting to go already. And yeah, so, I mean, this kind of gives you guys, here you go. This was actually the follow-up. I did this a little out of order, but you could see that SPX was starting to turn here. So everything just started to make sense, which gave us the confidence to really hold at least into our first target, which actually hit extremely well. So let's go ahead and take it at the next slide here, show you guys what's up. So once again, here was my targets. And again, the 7,004 here. And my first target was the 85, trying to get down to the 67 because this was the monster short. So let's see. I have a couple more slides here for you guys. A lot of good stuff here. Let's see. And again, I hate to focus on this, but we talked about this many, many, many times. And, you know, as I'm sitting here and I'm just staring at this, I'm obviously analyzing the trade. I've been sitting in it for hours at this point, right? And I'm telling everybody, listen, this is a big dumbass spot, right? It holds now and stops and pops me out, or we flush here. No alternative. I want 7 points or 35 points to my target. That was it, because it was such a high probability area that I was willing to take that risk. We already got our first target, which paid 15 points. And so a little 5 or 7 point stop, whatever it was no sweat. I was still flush on the day, which was awesome. So certainly not complaining about that. All right, so let's go ahead and take it into the next thing as well. And this is where the Discord pays dividends, guys. This is actually pretty good stuff. I think you're going to like this. So as you guys know, I'm a huge profile guy. I talked about this exact thing yesterday. I talked about how we had excess at the highs over here, and we had excess at the lows down at 59. And one of the things that I pointed out to everybody in the room, I said, I wonder which one gets cleaned up first. Well, this is when I said this. And as you can see from this picture here, we clearly cleaned up the one at the low in the towards the end of the day, which was a sweet call. Certainly, this was just an absolute fantastic day. So Love that for sure. The other thing that I want to show you guys, check this out. You're going to like this. So one of the other big things that we look at during the day is because I'm looking at the profile nonstop, and this is how I'm kind of delivering it to the Discord room as well. We had this massive push up in the morning, right? We swept the lows, got long, we got to the high. We took profits at yesterday's high, and then we got to 7,004. Well, this big tail on the profile right here, this represents a short squeeze. This is a market inefficiency that will normally get cleaned up the same day, and if not, usually the next day. But knowing that we came off some serious resistance, we were watching this tail to make sure that this got cleaned up. As you can see here, I'm like, can we get a wee? They're giving me the little Chef Bailey thing from the song. It's my homies. And as we're coming down, we start to grab these targets. And more importantly, here we are cleaning up this tail, right? So again, the market profile gave us the knowledge or the confidence to hold and say, listen, we got a short squeeze. We got some serious resistance. We're more than likely going to come down and clean this up. And that is exactly what happened. So it was a perfect textbook day as far as that was concerned. It was just slow. It took a long time to get down there. It certainly made you kind of question and wonder what was going to happen, but everything worked out perfectly. So, no complaints here whatsoever. I think everybody, end of the day, pretty solid. I know that it tested a lot of people's patience today, but when you're playing these high time frame daily, weekly levels, you just got to hold on and play it for what it is. And so that's what we did. And I try to give everybody the confidence to do that by showing them, hey, I'm still sitting in this. This is what we're going to do. Now, here's the great part. At the very lows, right? What about the buys, right? The buys. Check this out. This is right in our trade plan. 69.56 through 69.57. We had a 4-hour, 1-hour combo. Even said in the actionable setup, this could provide a nice reaction, but must get back above 69.64. You can see I actually got in a little late here. I got in around 69.59. I took a picture before I moved my target up. I actually took profits at 64. So I ended up scalping, 5 points off of this, which wasn't anything crazy because it was literally at the end of the day. I think the bell had already rang. But when I just looked at the market here right now, you can see that this actually pumped pretty good here. Let me turn this. Let me turn my sim on so I don't accidentally hit any buttons here. There we go. You can see we played the 56 perfect. I'm going to go ahead and mute. There you go. And we're already popping up to 70. So they went ahead and got above that 64 and they're cruising. So, what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. There's no way for me to know magically, but I am still leaning a little bit to the downside. This is our major area right now. And so we're going to get into the resistance, but I just wanted to show you guys how incredible the trade plan was today. We actually called the highs on Sunday. We talked about it on Monday in the trade plan. I talked about it live with you guys in the post-market breakdown yesterday. And of course, the trade plan outlined everything just absolutely to the T. And of course, if you're in the Discord room paid dividends, which was money shot. So, it was a fantastic day. And if you were patient and you held, you made some dough. So now we're going to talk about exactly what the day looks like. So, or for tomorrow, what we should expect. And again, like I told you, we didn't have a whole lot going on today, right? We really sat in a short for basically most of the day. We hit our perfect spot. And, there wasn't a whole lot of in between other than we had the long from the open, and then we had the short and really the long at the end of the day, which is still playing out. So I'd like, we still got some time, and I want to talk about what to anticipate for tomorrow, because as I look more into this, it's really interesting what could happen. And it's really going to be all about where we open. Okay. So I am actually going to chart this right now. I did not pre-chart this for everybody. So let's just go ahead and get into this right this second. Okay. So here is what I'm looking at. Right. So I still have right now, and this is based on ES, and this is not based on SPX or anything else, because this is what we're trading. Right. You guys recall yesterday, I talked about how this was our massive leg to the low right here. Right. So we have this huge daily leg that we still haven't gained. So in my opinion, right, and this is in my opinion, we have shifted momentum by coming down. We not only swept one daily, but we actually swept two. Okay. We played this area in Globex during a massive overnight flush. Okay. So we swept and we came into the weekly, but where did we go? Right. We went from weekly to weekly. Let me just show you how this works. Okay. So for me, obviously I try to play from time frame to time frame. Well, we came all the way down here, and I'll show you guys when I go into the RTH chart. We came all the way down in here to 61, and we have pushed all the way to the highest untested level, which was 7,004. Let me actually pull up something that's a little bit more clear for you guys. Here we go. Here's the ETH chart, and I know it's kind of clubbered with lines here, and when we get into something a little bit different time frame, it'll be a little bit cleaner for you. But we basically played this massive area. We swept these two lows, and we pushed up. And now, right now, we still have a lot of momentum to the downside. We had an intense squeeze for 2 days, and really it was on low volume. So with that being said, it's hard to get excited about that. I mean, this happens all the time, especially in bear markets. And I know we're not in quote unquote a bear market yet, but we are certainly still in negative gamma territory. For those of you guys who are following along this morning, we still are in negative gamma as that was located at the all-time highs, which was pretty insane because we have been sitting in negative gamma territory really for like going on 3 weeks now. So dealers have been hedging to the downside for some time, which is getting us some insane volatility. I'm trying to get my pen to load up here, and this thing is being stubborn. I think it always does this every time we stream. So anyways, long story short, this is our move. This is what we hit. Now we're starting to create other resistance as we begin to push down. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the 4 hour. And check this out. Man, look how sexy that is. This thing hit so nice. Massive pivot, big call wall up here. This is the support that we lost that gave us the big flush. This was just absolutely incredible. So now we're sitting here at 69.57, and I can't get my pen to work, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would love to draw this out for you. But we basically have started to lose on the 4 hour. But we haven't officially, we have officially lost on the 4 hour, but my really main area down here is 69.38. But here's what I truly believe. This was a massive 4 hour close here. This is still in control. Okay. So we haven't gained on the daily, right? So we're still down on the daily. And in my opinion, we just lost support on the 4 hour. Now we have some serious resistance above us because what was once support now becomes resistance, especially when you lose. And what we did was we squeezed all the way up here after playing this area down here. We rushed up here just to get smacked from the highs. So this area right here that we're sitting at, 69.64, that I keep preaching to you guys over and over and over again, is going to be such an important area for us to get above or below. Right now, we have some other 4 hour resistance as well. And I personally think that we have a couple really important spots to look at. Obviously, this higher area is tested, but until we can reclaim this, let's just call it 90 spot, we're coming down. Okay. And I have been feeling that way for a couple of days. As you guys know, when we hit this 77 on Sunday, I was feeling a little bearish, right? Until we popped this 64 yesterday and moved up. Well, now we're hitting this area. And so we're just sitting right in this big balance area. But for me, I still see momentum shifted down to the downside. However, we still have to keep an eye on VIX. VIX is actually sitting right directly above our major pivot where we are at currently right now. So this is going to be our big above below for tomorrow, 1744. If we push up, we're going to get some major headwind on the indices, but a push below this will be a major tailwind, and we could then continue to pop back above our 7,004 and potentially make new all-time highs. However, I truly believe that we need to keep an eye on this in the morning. If we open below 77 and especially 64, we have some serious trouble on our hands. And I am looking at all the support or resistance between 69.87 and 69.95. To me, this is a massive short zone. And until they get above, let's just call it 7,000, because if they find acceptance above 69.95, I would pretty much call this invalidated. But this is a massive area of resistance. I wish I could get my pen to work, but essentially what happens, I could see this kind of popping up here and then pulling back and coming down a little lower. So I have talked about this 64 area being a monster. If we get below this, we really have a momentum shift that you need to be careful with. Currently, 69.38. Let me go ahead and show you this. This is our current leg up right here. And if they close below this on the 4 hour or even move below it, this thing is an absolute duster. Okay. So as you guys, we talked about the 64. So we would be below 64, and then we would be basically trying to get back above to create the momentum to get up here. Look at how many times this is played here. This is a massive spot. If we get below this, we shift hard tomorrow, and we could retrace a lot of this. Now, I talked about on the move up, which I thought this pullback would do. We still have 69.12. look for 69.12 to play and reclaim 23, and this could get a nice push up. But if that doesn't happen, she's done. And to be quite frank, I'm going to be shorting tomorrow more than likely, depending on where we open. I don't want to like get ahead of myself because it's all about where we open and kind of, what's happening in the morning. I'm sure we're going to have some news in the morning. So, but I'm just speaking generalizations from right now. I'm going to be looking to short this area. If we're under 64, again, I'm still bearish, right? And below 38, man, forget about it, right? So, because once we shift under 03 and 80, man, this thing is coming all the way down. And I certainly think this is still possible playing this massive high lost area here. This is, my whole trade philosophy is based on legs. Okay. I play leg ins, high probability, high time frame leg ins. And that is exactly what this is. If I was looking to get long from here, like pretend this chart was flipped over, we would basically have made new highs, right? Because we made new lows on this chart. And we come and play the lowest or highest, most untested. I would look for this thing to go all the way back and make a new low, or from this point, from this perspective. Not trying to confuse you guys here, but basically this is a monster area, and unless we can pop this, we should come down and make a new low. And that is basically the sum of it. So from this point forward, we are really looking for a momentum shift above, let's just call it 69.90. And really it's 69, it's 7,004. If they can't do that, there's a good chance that we're going to make new lows. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys at today. That is where we're calling it. And I hope that you guys had an excellent day today. Tomorrow is going to be super interesting. Make sure that you check out Edgeful. They are my favorite statistics platform. I have their link in my bio and also in the post and right here. And also sign up for 30 days free of the trade plans. You guys have an excellent evening, and tomorrow we'll conquer the markets. Cheers.